I am more than chaos, more than shame. A soul still shining through the pain. I'm not the wreck they walked around. I'm standing here on solid ground. You can't find your way back, even when you fall between the cracks. Between the cracks.
Hey everybody, this is Jen. Hi Misha, how are you today? I hope that you're doing well. I'm probably not going to get a lot of people because I guess Mac is streaming. So, but I'm going to get this out here anyways. I am going to be talking about victim shaming, victim blaming, and how we can rise above it and how we can stop it. I'm also going to talk about how it pertains to the troubled teen industry, because it's literally the basis of the industry is to shame the the kids when they're in there. 1 second. Sorry, I just had to check my phone for a few things. Is it going to rain? Oh, nope. Okay. Not at all. Hang on. One second. Oops. I have to answer that message from a friend. It's important. So I apologize, but it's okay because it's just you here, Mish. So anyways, so today we're talking about victim shaming, victim blaming, etc. And this is something that happens across the board of victims of crimes, mainly SA and DV crimes, mainly SA, and mainly of women, but not just women. Also the LGBTQ community, and men. It definitely happens to men as well, but it is definitely something that rather often happens to people that are othered. And so I'm going to read some traits of victim shaming, and that would be shifting responsibility, blaming the victim rather than the perpetrator, focusing on the victim's actions, like what were you wearing? What were you doing by yourself? Like analyzing the victim's behavior and focusing on their past choices. Hi, Mandy. Good to see you. So, yeah, so part of that, a big part of the victim shaming is focusing on the victim's actions, such as if they were essayed and they happen to be out for a walk, and they're wearing shorts and a let's say a sports bra. That does not give anyone the right to assault them in any form. Really? Thanks for the kiss. Now get out of my way. I guess I better put this on. I need to put the other banner on though, but I guess for right now I'll put this banner on. It's just you and me. Hello, my love. Victim shaming has got to be one of the most disgusting things a person can do to another human. I couldn't agree more. For so many reasons. And mainly for myself personally. Hey, Kazi, good to see you, love. I miss you. One of the reasons that I wanted to do this is that this is something that I have been dealing with since I was 6 years old. it started with family and it continued with family, and it just, well, no, to be fair, when I was SA'd at 4, the group of boys that perpetrated it, who were all teenagers, would tease me. And we're going to change the banner now because I don't want to say this with the cat butt banner up. But they used to tease me every time they'd see me. 4 years old. Did it feel good? Did you like it? And I would just cry and run away from them. Sorry, I have hair. I have his hair in my face. This isn't going to work, love. It can be the Jen and Thomas show in a little while. We're going through some things. So also, throwing victims' past choices in their face, I don't believe is something that is either fair or right in any way. Past choices should have nothing to do with what. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to put that screen in front of my face so I can actually just talk and focus on what I'm doing instead of worrying about what I look like, because who cares what I look like. So implying fault is another tactic that is used. So suggesting the victim deserved or invited the harm. And a lot of times this will be, say you meet someone at a bar and you're having drinks, maybe you start to play pool, whatever, it's a little flirty at the end of and maybe the person was paying for your drinks, decided on their own to pay for your drinks, and you're ready to leave and they freak out like, hey, wait a minute, that's not, like, we're not done. That's one of those things that really, to be told as a person that you invited an SA because you were having a decent time hanging out with somebody at a bar. And, people can morally point their fingers at me and I can immorally point this finger back at them. But you could literally be in your sweats, okay, or a snowsuit, and somebody could just grab you and SA you. So I don't want to hear anything about, oh, she was really nice to me, or he was really nice to me. They were really nice to me. So, I just assumed that they were okay with it or they wanted it. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And this, people, is why so many survivors, I will not use the word victim except talking about this stuff. Any survivor of SA, DV, you were going to have a really hard time finding them, speaking out, contacting law enforcement, going through the court system, because they are eviscerated, not only in the courtroom, but when they have to take the stand, because you're going to have the prosecutors asking you questions, but you also get the cross, right? You get cross-examination. And those defense attorneys will rip your character apart. They will find every single bad thing that you've ever done in your life or allowed to happen or anything, and they will use that. They will use that against you. Hey, Carmel, it's really good to see you. So that's sorry, I forgot words all of a sudden. That's an example of implying fault. You're inviting it. You're asking for it. No, nobody asks for that. Buddy, I actually have some notes here, so just stop. And then most importantly and least talked about would be reinforcing negative stereotypes, because stereotypes and generalizations play a huge role in victim shaming. And it's because the majority of the people that are victimized by domestic violence, by DV and SA, is reinforcing the negative stereotypes. Okay, pardon me. I will use myself as an example. Hey, Indigo, how are you, babe? Let's see, we need to change how questions are asked, because they definitely put blame on the survivor rather than, yes, phrasing things from a neutral perspective. 100%, 100%. It does need to be, the language needs to be changed, period, full stop. So reinforcing negative stereotypes is what people do with SA survivors, DV survivors, just not plain, but the physical assault survivors. I know she is. Oh, she's done. Oh, okay, cool. I didn't know that she was going at 3. I had this set for 4, but I made sure to be over to Mac's channel earlier until I had to run up to 7-Eleven and get a Slurpee, because 7-Eleven, feel free to reach out to me. I'll promote your Slurpees. I wanted something nice and cold to drink. Thank you, Carmel. You're awesome. So the negative stereotypes, like, it's perpetuating harmful stereotypes about certain groups of people, making it harder for them to come forward. And what I'm talking about is women and girls, the LGBTQ plus community, who are, by the way, the highest percentage of people, mainly trans females of color, are the most attacked group of people. And we live in a society that thinks that that's okay, when it's literally listed as a hate crime. Like, I can pull that up and prove via law enforcement that any sort of crime on a trans person is a hate crime. But we live in a society in a climate right now that is demonizing these people for reasons that I can't understand, making up ridiculous storylines and that. So it makes it really hard for them to come forward. And that's what I was talking about before, because if the odds are stacked against you, and you're just going to, have 10 fingers pointing at you going, well, you have to admit you're different. Yeah. You know what? Everybody's different. If we were all the same and we all wore our little white polo shirts, short sleeve polo shirts and khaki pants and loafers, and drove beige cars and went to beige jobs and lived beige lives. Hey, Mac, I'm happy that you came to join me after your stream. I did enjoy your stream earlier, and I found it ironic that we were kind of partially both covering the victim shaming. And I love that, because, our brains are in sync. So that makes sense. But it really bothers me for women and girls and men, and boys, and for the LGBTQ plus community, because they're so damn demonized, and they're just human beings trying to just live in a world, being their authentic self. What on earth is wrong with just living your life and being your authentic self? You hear that phrase, just don't shove it in my face, or my favorite, it just don't shove it down my throat. And it's always cis straight males that usually say that about gay men. And I'm like, you should really think about your terminology there, because what? If you don't want things shoved down your throat, then don't talk about people shoving things down your throat. I don't know. That's me. I find the ironic comedy in it, even though it is tragic. I am 100%, have always been 100% an ally. I technically, in my heart, feel that I'm actually a pansexual person, though I have not acted out on any physical relationships with anyone but men. But I know that I am just attracted to people, and you never know. You just never know. I've seen it happen with so many of my friends. You meet somebody and it's that person, right? It's about the person. And I was saying in the 90s that I just felt like, well, why can't everybody just be sexual? Like, why does there have to be a word or a part of a word that has to come before? Like, it's, and I know that it comes from our puritanical beginnings as a country once the land was stolen from the natives. Also, Native girls and Native women are so incredibly victim shamed and victim blamed. Hey, Tiff, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry that I'm scratching my nose. It's cat hair, not, um, anything sniffable. Um, but, Indigenous people around the world, this isn't just an American thing. I immediately think of India. India is a country, I don't know, maybe in another life I was Indian. I'm not sure, but I've always been fascinated by India, Indian culture, it being the birthplace of Buddhism, but also having multiple multiple religions and hundreds of languages within that country. Just their history, their beliefs, the beauty of the land. I've just always been very fascinated with India, but Indian women are brutalized and then blamed, and then oftentimes unalived, especially if they speak up. Don't dare speak up. I'm not mentioning religions because I feel like people hide behind religion to make excuses for things. Like a case that's currently going on in Washington State, a father who tried to honor kill his daughter because she didn't want to go to Iraq and marry the 40-year-old man who had purchased her. Yeah, I said that. So victim shaming, victim blaming, it obviously reinforces these negative stereotypes. I think it also can work in, hang on, this is important. Native Canadians, Aborigine, you name it, indigenous populations have been historically repressed 100%. Yeah. I mean, of course, they're treated like wild animals when literally they were not only surviving, but they were living just fine before people came and took their land. But I also want to take this in a little bit of a couple different directions. I'll get to the TTI stuff in a bit, but victim shaming, victim blaming, and bullying and cyberbullying. So as a survivor, that's so dumb. I don't even consider it, like, whatever. After having been attacked online in the last year and then being demonized, I find it's bizarre. It's unnerving. At first I tried to defend myself. I would go on Reddit and I would speak out, and it made everything worse. So again, in this case as well, victim shaming of somebody who's being cyberbullied, then trying to say, no, that's not who I am. You're not getting a full picture of me. You don't know me. You just believe. I sent you an email. Can you forward it to Mandy? It's for her. Of course. Absolutely. For them, just to be clear. So it's very frustrating how Sam brought something up earlier about parasocial friendships, parasocial relationships. And when you have these parasocial relationships, you really don't know the people that you're getting involved with or having in your circle, right? You take it on faith that these are good people. Some are. People in here, every single one of you, I actually love as a person because I know you and you've been around. Some of you have been through this with me, the cyberbullying, and the beautiful thing about that is it hasn't, okay, Am I your ASMR, Mandy? You want me to speak a little softer, help you fall asleep? I am going to be forwarding an email to you, by the way. The natural response to defend yourself and your reputation, but it doesn't end up serving you well with these kinds of people. Exactly. That was the point. Thank you. That's the point that I was trying to make. In the end, what happens is it blows up in your face, and then even more people get involved, and it just doesn't stop. And it's just, you just have to walk away from it. It's very frustrating because you want to defend yourself and your reputation and your friends and their reputations, but in the end, it ends up causing more harm than it does good. People are still talking about me. And you know what? Let them. Just like my ring says, not this one. Let them. It's none of my business. If somebody doesn't like me, that's none of my business. If somebody has something negative to say about me who barely ever knew me or didn't know me at all, that's not my business. That's a them issue. That's not a me issue. And that's growth, and that's boundaries, and that's understanding myself and what's best for me. And then also, think about this, what do they call it? Revenge porn. And then somebody speaks out about that and saying, like, I never agreed to have this out on the internet for anybody to see. And then they're like, well, you made the video. But and this is it just goes, for me, it just goes back to trust, which clearly I've reverted as far as trust goes. I've reverted back. Excuse me, my acid reflux is acting up. But, I've reverted with trust. I don't openly give my trust to people right away. I tried it. I never used to do it, but I started to try to do it in my 40s, and it's done nothing but burn me. Not every time. And I shouldn't say it's done nothing but burn me, but it's burned me enough times to make me realize that it's better to take my time to open up to people, not some people, but to open up to people and let them see me and know me and understand where I'm coming from and know about my actual life away from my computer screen, because it's just caused more pain than good. Let's see, what do we got here? Thank heavens the laws are finally catching up regarding revenge porn. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's still out there. Like, they won't take it. Well, I trust you too, but I know you in person as well, so that helped. But yeah, I mean, it's caught up on revenge porn, but it hasn't caught up on, like, trans women hate crimes. It is catching up a bit with LGBTQ plus. I'm taking the T out on purpose. It has caught up a bit, but I don't even really feel like we are advanced. I don't believe that we've advanced far enough in the 30 years or 25 years since Matthew Shepard was tortured and tied to a fence. I just don't see that we've come really that far. It's just, the stuff just keeps happening, and then everybody gets blamed, and it's just not fair. So the causes to the victims from being shamed is emotional distress, obviously, number one. It hinders recovery, and that can be any kind of recovery, because if you are a victim of SA or DV or bullying, and you have certain genetic traits within you, you could start numbing, right? You could start numbing with alcohol. You could start, oh, okay, say hi to Kay, love you. You could start drinking. You could start, taking pills. You could, there's all kinds of things you could start. And then that just adds on, right? So not only have you been victim shamed, but then, you caught a habit, and then it starts to take over your life. And then not only is your recovery from what happened to you hindered, but then you also have this other added thing that you need to recover from. And it just feels so unfair. It causes victims to be silent, which we talked about, and isolate. I know that I have spent many years isolating because it was a lot easier than trying to be believed by people. Because it really mattered to me for a long time. Hey, Crystal, it really, really mattered to me for a long time how people saw me, what they thought of me. I'm not proud of that, but that comes with a lack of self-love and insecurity, and that just so. And then lastly, and to me, it perpetuates abuse, especially if you're young. So say you're S8 or you go through familial DV, and when you get older, what happens? Well, we accept the love we think we deserve, and it perpetuates abuse, making victims much easier targets for abusers. Well, 100%. And in my case, a lot of what, yeah. So the cycle, it's interesting. You brought up the cycle, because for me, I'm not saying that my choice was right. I'm not sure that it is. I don't like to regret things, but one of the ways that I decided to stop the cycle of abuse in my family, it was to not have kids, not get married. And it bums me out, because I definitely think, okay, do you want to? You can. I mean, I've just gone on for 30 minutes. I just want to tie this into the troubled teen industry, if you don't mind. So obviously the, here, let me do this real quick. I need to, I need to do so. Okay. This is what I do. Okay. Hang on one second, Crystal. Where are you? Okay. I feel really, is Tip here? Because I sent her a message. Oops. Oh shoot. How do I spell your name? Oh my gosh. There you are. You can't spell. Okay. But this is a tactic that's very much, there you are. There you are. No. Pooh, hi Pooh. No, and never. I adore you, Tiff. I mean, I already answered you, but no. Nope. No. Absolutely not. You're my friend and you're lovely. I think that I've just gotten caught. Okay, check your messages. Okay, cool. Check your Facebook Messenger, because I sent it in there. Well, I love you. And that's actually at the very beginning of my stream. I saw your message and I paused the stream for a moment so that I could answer it, because I was like, oh gosh, no. I think the stuff that happened this weekend on YouTube, just, it got on my nerves. So maybe I was just seemingly a little snappy, but it's just, no. No, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of it. Reminds me of so many negative things too, I mean, not just for those of us that came from TLB. It doesn't just remind me of that, but it also reminds me of the stuff I dealt with in the anti-Scientology LA protests, and the people around that, and that was actually more painful for me as I just walked away from TLB and all of that, and then I walked into a shitstorm. Like, wait, what? But I didn't handle it perfectly, but I feel that at the end of the day, I handled it well enough that I'm not, oh my God, girl. Yes. 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 And yes, to a degree. It depends. Now, I see you, Crystal. I'll pull you up in a minute. Um, I am part of a trouble teens community on Reddit that is amazing, absolutely amazing. And there's some other communities that I'm a part of that are fantastic. But I mean, if you're going there to look for shit, you're going to find some shit, right? So it is a cesspool. But if you look in the right places, you will find resources. I get a lot of my information from fellow TTI survivors on Reddit. We share information with each other before it even is out for public knowledge. Yes, good and bad. You just have to choose. So if you choose to look for the garbage, you're going to find the garbage. And then that algorithm is going to constantly, pull up this garbage for you. All right, so we're going to bring up our friend Crystal Phoenix, who has asked me very kindly, I think like a month ago, to be a part of this stream. So we're going to bring her up and hear what she has to say.
Hi guys. I
And
am at work. I am giving you that heads up right now. Give me one second. Are you guys waiting on the realtor? Yeah. Okay, I work here. She's not here yet. All right. Sorry about that.
no worries.
So yeah, when it comes to the whole victim shaming thing, I could write multiple books, and we all know that Crystal Phoenix loves to write her books. I mean, come on,
Don't we
I've
know
got
it?
I've got 9 out, right? But
Okay, overachiever.
hey, you're funny.
I'm not picking on you. I'm not picking on you.
Well, yeah, I mean, 2 jobs, 2 legitimate jobs, the YouTube thing, and being, wifey. Yeah, that's a little bit of an overachiever. Right? I'll give it to you. um, but us, like, victim shaming is a very real thing. We constantly hear, well, why didn't you leave? Or, well, what did you do to make them so mad?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't, and I am going to put a language warning out now. Okay.
Oh, I don't give a shit. I'm not
Yeah.
monetized.
I don't give a fuck what you did. There's 1, maybe 2 things that I will, as an exception to this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like, go to stab a guy or your partner. If you are physical with them and they defend themselves,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or well, no, that's about it. I mean, if you kick a guy in the balls, he might push you back just out of reflex, you know. But if you're just defending yourself with words,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, you fight with words back. You don't
Yep.
put your hands on another person, period. Now I've pushed someone out of my space. If they back me into a corner and keep coming, I'm gonna put my arms out. But I've been in 4 fights my entire life, and I will be 42 in August. It's not that I don't know how. I would rather fight my battles with my words.
Oh, I get that. That's why my friends nicknamed me Machete when I was young. Because I'm pretty vicious. I don't like it. I don't use it often. Sometimes it gets ripped out of me and I can't help it. But it's not. I don't want to live in hate, and I don't want to
Yeah.
feel hate, and I don't want to use the word. It's just so dark, right? But sometimes you can really get pushed.
I've got a great example of this. Okay, my ex was not the sharpest tool in the shed. Okay, and when we first got together, now we'd known each other since first grade, mind you. he used to love the fact that I am decently educated, very eloquent. I read a lot, everything. So I naturally use big words.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how I talk. Well, once he started slipping into the real douchebag, um, he would say that I was purposely trying to make him feel stupid when all I was trying to do was have a conversation.
Right.
Um, and that's how I would provoke him to do what he would do. Or he cheated on me and was abusive to me because I didn't sleep with him for a certain amount of time.
Oh,
Well,
dear.
he put his hands on me, so yeah, I didn't feel safe with him. So of course, I didn't want to be intimate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, action, consequence. Huh,
Mm-hmm.
go figure. But now in the Midwest, DHS was in our lives 3 times. First 2, I actually stayed with him, trying to get him the mental health he needed. We had kids. I still loved him. When I got to keep my kids.
Yeah.
Weird, right? Um, the minute I truly ended it and actually said, I need help. My mental health is done. You know, they actually cut a deal with him under the table that if he could assist in making sure my rights were terminated as well, because his were done.
Mm-hmm.
He would get off probation 6 months early and not have to take the battery classes.
Hmm.
Um, and it's all because the first 2 times I had begged the judge to give him mental health,
Mm-hmm.
any of it. Don't just release him,
Right.
and they never did. But that's my fault. I couldn't fix him. I did that. No. Um,
Well, I mean,
as
it could be so simple as to doing something wrong or not answering the phone when
um,
they call you. So,
or not cooking dinner fast
or
enough.
not cooking dinner on time.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, there was a actually very specific one where I tried to get the girls to go upstairs and he said, no, they need to sit down here and find out what happens when you're a dumb bitch.
That's pretty.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So yeah. But the victim shaming was very real.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. And it's hard. I'm going to go off camera and mute for 1 moment.
Okay. Okay. So I just, while Crystal stepped away, I wanna talk about the fact that I wanna hear from everybody ideas about how we rise above it, because I feel like, as Patti Smith said, John Lennon as well, people have the power. And I think that we need to remember that the people have the power and we are the people. So it's a giant, like Mount Rainier size mountain to climb. But I think that starting a conversation on how to rise above victim shaming, victim blaming, bullying, cyberbullying, I think it's a very healthy thing to do. Wow, we have to ask ourselves if it's true. It's so hard, right? So that, and that's the thing. And then unfortunately we get people who will cry victim on, like, cry essay victim, and then it turns out that it was all a scam, or uh cry kidnapping victim, and then it turns out it was all a scam. I'm thinking about that young lady, was it in Kentucky, on the freeway, that like disappeared, and it made everybody think that she was kidnapped. So these kinds of things, they don't help our causes. But I do want to hear Tiff said, my bully played on my mental health. You're acting like your mom. Yeah. Or you're acting crazy. You hear that a lot. Why are you being so crazy? You're crazy. That's crazy.
My favorite is when they flip your feelings, like you're upset that they cheated or
Mhm,
hurt you or whatever. Insert here because mental abuse, all of
mhm.
that is in the same thing. And yes, cheating is a form of abuse as well because
Yes.
it makes you feel like you're less than.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
why wasn't I enough?
Right.
Big question I ask myself a lot.
Right.
Um,
We have a
so,
good comment here from Fuzzy Pink Handcuffs. One of the most profound things anyone ever told me was the only person's reactions you control is your own. Put everything into perspective for me. And I agree. I that does put it into and yeah, but Tiff, your mom having her own track record has nothing to do with you. It's not your track record, it's your mom. And let me just say, the words track record and pattern can go fuck themselves because
yeah.
I have heard that my whole life. But
Well,
I
see, and
really
look at your
do.
track record. My mom used to say the same thing to me.
I just think that this is really important, and I think that we all need to hear this and take it in. The only
True.
person's reaction you control is your own,
Uh,
right?
and even
And
then,
I
half
know
the
that
time you
I
can't
know that
even control your own.
yeah, I mean, the only person we can control is ourselves. And listen, some of us have a hard time doing that, so that in itself is a struggle, but I mean, it really couldn't be any more simple than that. I mean, it doesn't necessarily stop people from doing it, but in our experience, what we've learned is not responding is a response. Not reacting is a reaction. You know, if you just continue to carry on with your life and be the true person that you are, it and you work through the pain that it causes you, it it helps. I feel that it helps. Yeah, we cannot control what other people do or say. We can only control how we react to it or if we react to it. I personally have chosen to react to it by just carrying on with my missions and changing my purpose in life to live it. I used to think that, and this is not cutting down anybody who believes, I've said this, I'm sorry that I'm repeating myself, but I'm not putting down anyone who believes in a purpose-filled life, because good on you. I think that's fantastic. Um, I didn't live. I didn't live for 38 plus years, really. I existed, I survived, I was numb. Uh, Even with or without substances, more without than with. But my purpose in life is to live it because it's finite. Life is finite. It does come to an end. Every life comes to an end. So my purpose is to live it. My mission is to draw attention to the troubled teen industry, to survivors of SADV, bullying, cyberbullying, just childhood trauma, all of it put together.
Trafficking.
That's my mission, is to get the
Yep.
word out and to show people that people can be kind to each other, even if they disagree on things, right?
Absolutely. I love a good debate. Change my
I
mind.
love a good debate too until it turns personal, and then I'm out.
Yeah. Now remember when we were talking about the other night how I brought up that whole childhood saying?
Mhm.
It's another way to victim shame. And if you think about it, that old childhood saying, if a boy pulls your hair on the playground, it's because he likes you. That is straight up grooming our kids. Number
It
one,
wa
to be bullies or accept bullying because it's a sign of affection.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And I mean, it really messed with my head, you know.
Actually, it messed with generations of girls' heads into believing there had to be some sort of drama, some sort of pain. And I could take that into chick flicks once we got older, rom-coms, you take it from the schoolyard where the kid
Full
punches you,
intentions.
where the kid punches you, and your mom's like, "Oh no, it's just because he has a crush on you." Like, he punched
No.
me because he likes me. That's stupid,
Yeah.
right? But then going into our teens, starting with the John Hughes movies, in our 20s into our 30s, those
A
chick
guy
flicks,
smacks your ass. Oh.
those chick flicks made us believe there had to be some sort of strife in a relationship for it to work or last or be good. And that's BS. I
Yeah.
call BS. Those movies were very harmful. However,
Yeah.
because you brought that up about it, if a kid pushes you or punches you, it's because he likes you. I don't know if you read or anybody else in the chat has read the book He's Just Not That Into You by Greg Barrett.
Good book.
I already had a lot of male friends who I knew all of this stuff, but this man, he's a comedian and he was a consultant for Sex and the City. And they even did a whole episode called He's Just Not That Into You. And it's very true. You know, we tell ourselves and we're told
Yeah.
through generations that if men treat you like garbage, that's because they like you. That's not liking. That is
Then
like
Matt must hate
cruelty.
me because he treats me like a queen.
Right.
You know,
Well, I
and
mean,
he
it's
hates drama, honestly.
well,
He
guess
hates drama
what?
and all that.
He's
Mhm.
into you. So you don't
Oh,
have to
yeah.
wonder if
Mhm.
he's into you or not, you
No,
know.
no.
But
He
I
keeps
think that
saying he don't want to meet any. He don't want to try. I'm crazy enough. I don't ever have to worry about it.
I mean, yeah, and that's basically what I tell men now. It's like, listen, I'm fully honest and transparent with everybody. And I just say, listen, this is my life. These are the issues that I live with. And you have a choice on whether or not you want to be a part of my life. If you do, sweet. But you have to remember that I told you everything up front. And you can't, excuse me, turn it. And you can't throw it back in my face. You know, I mean, I wish that I would have learned that younger instead of, you know, doing the imposter syndrome and trying to be this girl that I appeared to be, you know, just because, and, you know, it's another thing, just because I was a pretty girl. First of all, I didn't know I was a pretty girl. I had no idea I was a pretty girl because I was always told that I was ugly. So I believed that. I didn't believe what other people told me. I believed what I saw in the mirror, which was still the gawky 11-year-old with the cowlicks in my hair, all super skinny and big buck teeth. Hey, Incarnasoul. That's men being taught and having modeled really poor consideration for women. 100%. 100%. Just as much as we were programmed to believe that if a boy hits you, throws dirt at you, whatever, he likes you, they were taught how to treat women. And unfortunately, too many boys were taught not to respect women.
My mom taught me how to use what God gave me to get what I wanted, because that can go both ways, you know, manipulating guys with our assets, whether it's your mind or your body, you know.
Listen,
Um,
I'll put it out there. And I've been, you know, I've been shamed for this as well. But in the late 80s, early 90s, strip clubs were the best way for a pretty girl to make a large amount of money. When I was
Let's be
19,
2000s as well. Mhm.
well, I mean, definitely Sherry Papini, really good point. Sherry Papini is one of those people that hurts us, Carmel, definitely. But and I'm just going to say this because I'm not ashamed. It is what it is. I tried the stripping thing. You know, I was hypersexualized when I was 4. So it's not really that much of a surprise. But I did it. I had an agent. The clubs would pay me $15 an hour to be there. People would give me tons of tips. The ironic thing for me, and the reason that I knew that stripping wasn't for me, I was fine on stage. I would pick my music. I would pick my clothing. I was in my head. I was, you know, I was performing. It was performance art for me. And but the issue, especially in Detroit, because it's different everywhere. In Detroit, and the Metro Detroit area, they do lap dances. It's not like that everywhere, I know, but in Michigan, it is like that. I could not do that. That was my line. So the ironic thing was that I made more money and I worked during the day because nighttime was just too insane. But I worked during the day because it was, mainly businessmen. And I made all of my money from guys saying, why don't you just come and sit down and hang out with us and talk to us, because you seem really cool. And if I had $10 for every time a guy asked me what I was doing there because I didn't belong there, I would be a very wealthy woman today, because I didn't, and it was incredibly obvious. But so many of my friends were doing it. It gave me the opportunity to make a lot of money, to travel and do things that I wanted to do. I only did it for like 2.5 years, but I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it. And everything that I saw, it's very real. It's just the point, the best decision I made was not to get into the life. And the reason I didn't get into the life was because I was 19 when I started, and I had overdosed on drugs when I was 17. So I was so afraid of drugs, very drug phobic, that I didn't get into the life. And the life means like, using drugs and going, to hotels with guys and stuff. And again, not judging it, just saying I couldn't be in the life. So it saved me. Another instance of it saving me. But people shamed the shit out of me. Oh, you're a stripper. And I was like, you know what? Do you make $2,000 a day? Because I do.
I made $500 off of one guy by looking at him and saying, sweetheart, you can't afford what I give to the ones I want to for free.
Right.
He paid for champagne room, most expensive bottle, and even gave me a back room. Because I had the balls to say it, and I was 19. I was in and out of the business till I was for 10 years.
You're like 10 years younger than me. So we didn't have champagne rooms to start with. There was no like out of the room experiences. It was all on the floor or whatever. But it was raunchy, and we'd get all the rock stars, we'd get all the wrestling guys, we'd get all the sports guys.
I was in Fort Lauderdale, so
for me.
I get that.
It was across the board for me that 8 times out of 10, guys wanted to pay me to hang out, not dance for them. And I was just like, okay, cool.
I became a professional alcoholic, and I only worked when I knew my regulars were going to be there. Otherwise, I was sitting in front of the video game, talking with my favorite bartender, drinking.
Was it the Mega Touch?
Yep.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to dance for me, you came to me. That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had my regulars.
There's really nothing worse than walking around a room asking guys if they want to dance and having them be like, no.
2 for 1s, I hated that.
Terrible feeling.
But I love you, and I really, really want to stay on, but my phone is about to die, and I have dishes I've got to do. But I would
hope
love
that you got to say what you wanted to say.
Damn it.
What happened? Did we lose her? Uh-oh. Oh, I think her phone died. Okay. We love you, Crystal. Thank you for sharing. I hope that you got to say everything that you wanted to say. I know that this was an important stream for you to talk about. Yeah, it's funny, Tiff. I had a friend of mine whose dad owned a club as well. It's something. It's a world, but I was already kind of used to that world anyways, because I was already involved in the music world. And, I had friends that were groupies. I was always backstage at shows. I was what they called me, the anti-groupie, because I actually had a rule that I wouldn't sleep with rock stars, because, and this is just, hear me out. This is my logical brain working. They're rock stars. Every girl, well, not So a good portion of the girls and women in the crowd want to sleep with that one person. So they don't really have to do anything, right? They just have to kind of lay there and be present. And I thought, why would I sleep with a rock star? Because they're not going to even try. So how boring is that? So that was my thing. And I also didn't want, I was, which I guess is really ironic that I worked in strip clubs, but it was all financial because I've said this before. I always appreciate her insight as well, for sure. I do too. And this was really important to her. So I'm glad that she was able to get that. But, you know, it's ironic to me that I ever even did. You were napping. Was it a good nap? Don't feel bad. Shoot, that sounds so good. Just the irony that I did that because I was very, it sounds like, I don't know. I was uptight, I guess. I was sexually uptight just because so many bad things had happened to me. I wasn't just SA'd when I was 4. I was a teenage runaway, and just use your imagination. I want to go back to this. Sherri Papini. So, is there anybody that doesn't know the story of Sherri Papini? Because she is somebody who, think about the movie Gone Girl and what that does to women. So, just a quick for anybody that doesn't know who Sherri Papini is. She's an American woman known for orchestrating her own kidnapping hoax. In 2016, she disappeared while jogging near Redding, California, claiming to have been abducted. She later reappeared, alleged she had been kidnapped and tortured. However, investigations revealed that Papini had fabricated the entire story, spending time with an ex-boyfriend. She was arrested in 2022 and pleaded guilty to making false statements and mail fraud. These people hurt us. And not just, okay, babe, I really appreciate seeing you. I love you. And I'll see you again soon. So, people like Sherri Papini, who make up these stories. There is another woman who was kidnapped. And because of Sherri Papini and the book/movie Gone Girl, was not believed, and like her boyfriend was not believed, and it was not believed. Like people even said, "Haven't you heard of Gone Girl?" And this poor woman, it took a while to get. I don't remember her name, but there's a documentary out about it, and it's these things hurt us. If we want justice, every time. Was it Penn State with the girl that claimed that the frat guys SA'd her, and they didn't? To be fair, that happens a lot, and has throughout Greek society in colleges. And tomorrow is Thomas's birthday, by the way. So when we do the stream tomorrow, we have to do a little something for Thomas's birthday. He is not even in the room right now because it's his nap time. Oh, wow, it's 5:00. But I want to, I don't really think that we really came up with any ways to rise above it or make change, but I think that it's a good start. I believe that we can revisit this topic, and get more in depth, and then talk some more about ways that we think that we can change this, change the view, change the victim blaming, the victim shaming, and believing each other. Because for every Sherri Papini, there are 15 can't think of one off the top of my head, but 15 women who actually were kidnapped, tortured, essayed. And I just think about the girls from Cleveland, 3 girls, they were gone for so long. And by a miracle, I believe, one of the girls was finally able to get out of the house. Like, we really need to listen to victims of crimes and victims of bullying. And you don't just dig back into their history. It doesn't matter. Your history doesn't matter. What you're dealing with right now, what has happened, that's what matters. So next time we talk about this, that's what I would like to focus on is finding solutions, because we can talk about problems all day, but if we don't come up with solutions, we're just complaining. I think, my personal opinion. Again, I don't push my beliefs, my views, or my ideas on anybody. I just share them. So that's going to, hang on a second. I want to read this. This is important. I got a different outlook on treating women because I grew up with 2 girls who were neighbors of the same age. I just didn't understand boys' behavior in school and on the street at all. Well, yeah. And you're definitely not alone. I had male friends as a kid who were very sweet, and they would want to stick up. Like, one of my major bullies, my major bully in elementary school was a boy, and boys wanted to get involved and stop him, but they were afraid of him too, so they just didn't. Eventually, after complaining to my dad about it and him telling me to stop complaining and just go back and beat him up the next day, I did that. I broke his nose, but that's not the answer really necessarily. Our response is our responsibility. I was 8 at the time. I think a lot of it is fear. 100% fear. It's hard to accept that someone can be a victim having done nothing wrong. It's rationalizing to feel safer because I don't do these wrong things. Not true. Yes. I leave that up there for a minute. Let's all of that. It's okay, Crystal. I knew that that's what happened. Don't worry about it. I'm glad that you were able to come on and talk. It was really good. And we'll talk more about this later, because I was just telling everybody that next time I want to come up with some ideas of ways that we can counter this sort of thing. And yeah, this is good for you to see, Crystal. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I like this. So great idea. Maybe set some goals. Yeah, exactly. And, it'll probably be about a week or so from now where I come back around to this again, because I want to do some research on things. My dad told me to fight my own damn battles. Yeah, I mean, same. But, at the same time, when I was a kid, my dad was my biggest bully. He was my first love. He was the first man to break my heart. He was my first abuser. However, we've worked through all of that, and I see now the generational abuse and his father abandoning him and getting remarried and having 7 kids and then just pretending like my dad didn't even exist. That had to feel horrible. I mean, I know it did, because we've had talks about it, and then, periods in my life where we've been like, when I was 11, I met them all, and I really, really liked them, but I wasn't asked if I wanted to be in their lives. And then when my dad and his father got into a fight, then we stopped talking to them. I missed them because I'd kind of fallen in love with them. What's this here? But the best way to stop victim shaming is to keep having these conversations, explaining the multiple reasons why victims stay as long as they do and how to support instead of traumatize them further. Absolutely. Because, yeah, leaving, and this is, in a DV stitch, leaving. It's a very easy word to say. It's a very easy word to say. But you try to be completely isolated from everyone else in your life, not just emotionally, but physically, also separated from everyone in your life. And then everyone's mad at you because you're still with this person, so nobody wants to talk to you. Tell me how easy it is to get away then. Tell me how easy it is when somebody takes all of the inside doors off of your home so that you have nowhere to go and hide. Tell me how easy it is to leave when your money is controlled. You know, I did this off and on for 30 years. And then finally I left, and it's been 9 years, and it's been good. I mean, I've made some questionable choices since then as well, but before, during it, whatever, with men. But now I don't believe that I believe now that I have a really good way of looking at the idea of dating and possibly getting into a relationship. 5 years for you. I mean, it's a lot of our stories, Crystal, right? So yeah, our next conversation about victim shaming is going to be solutions and how to support each other and support victims/survivors, and letting them know that they have nothing to be ashamed of. They have nothing to feel guilty for, and that they are worthy. It's really important to let people know, hold up that good mirror and show them what you see. So I'm going to wrap this up for today. I thank everybody for joining me. As always, be kind to somebody today, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care of yourselves, and thanks again. And if you don't mind, please check and make sure you're subscribed. And if you'd like to, leave a comment after the stream. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. Bye.